Karma is not what you think. Returning to inner peace. Before anything else, let me ask you something gently. What if karma is not fate chasing you from the past, but a habit you are training right now? What if every thought you repeat, every emotion you rehearse, every reaction you justify is quietly shaping the future you will eventually call my life? Pause for a moment. Feel that question land. Because in the Buddha's teaching, karma is not punishment, it is not reward, it is not destiny written in stone. Karma is intention, and intention lives in the mind. If that is true, then mind training is not a spiritual luxury. This is not about becoming perfect. It is not about suppressing emotions or forcing positivity. It is about learning how to meet each moment differently, so the future no longer repeats the past. In the Dhammapada, the Buddha begins with words that set the entire path. Mind precedes all phenomena. Mind is their chief. They are all mind-made. Dhammapada 1. If mind comes first, then training the mind changes everything that follows. Stay with me, slowly, gently. Because this is not just a teaching to understand, it is a practice to feel. Imagine two people facing the same event, the same words spoken to them, the same loss, the same success. One becomes bitter, the other becomes wiser. The event is not the difference, the trained mind is. In the Anguttara Nikāya, the Buddha speaks plainly. It is intention, monks, that I call karma. AN 6.63. Not the action alone, not the outcome, but the intention behind it. This is deeply liberating, because it means the present moment still matters, even if the past was heavy, even if patterns feel old. You may carry years of reactive habits, anger that flares instantly, fear that tightens the chest, craving that whispers promises it cannot keep. Habit is strong, yes, but awareness is stronger. Here is the quiet truth many miss. Karma continues not because it must, but because it is unexamined. When the same reaction happens again and again, it begins to feel like me. But the Buddha never said reactions are the self. In the Middle Length Discourses, he repeatedly points us back to observation. Thoughts arise, feelings arise, urges arise, and they pass. What turns them into karma is not their appearance, but our identification. Here's a simple example. Someone criticizes you. Immediately, heat rises in the body. The mind says, they are wrong, they don't respect me. If awareness is absent, speech follows, tone hardens, the moment escalates. The next time criticism appears, the mind is already trained. But if awareness is present, just enough to notice the tightening, the story forming, something remarkable happens. The chain breaks. Not because the feeling disappears, but because you no longer obey it. This is mind training, not control, not denial, but clarity. The Buddha compared the untrained mind to a wild animal, not evil, just unobserved. In AN 1.48-49, he says that no other thing brings such harm as an unguarded mind, and no other thing brings such benefit as a well-guarded one. Guarded does not mean tense, it means known. When the mind is known, karma softens. When the mind is unseen, karma hardens. When you act from irritation, how does the body feel afterward? When you speak from kindness, even imperfectly, how does the heart respond? These are not abstract teachings, they are felt realities. In the Dhammapada again, the Buddha says, if one speaks or acts with a corrupted mind, suffering follows as the wheel follows the ox's hoof. And just a few verses later, if one speaks or acts with a pure mind, happiness follows like a never-departing shadow. The mind is always training something. The question is, what are you training it to repeat? Every time you indulge resentment, you strengthen it. Every time you pause and breathe instead, you weaken its grip. This is how karma transforms. quietly, incrementally, without drama. The Buddha never promised instant liberation. He promised a path. In the middle way, training unfolds in three intertwined dimensions: wisdom, ethics, and mental cultivation. But notice something subtle. Ethics are not imposed from outside. They emerge naturally when the mind is trained. A reactive mind harms, a clear mind refrains, a compassionate mind protects. This is why the Buddha emphasized mindfulness so strongly. Mindfulness is not relaxation. It is remembering to see clearly. In MN 19, the Buddha describes dividing thoughts into two kinds: those rooted in greed, hatred, and delusion, and those rooted in renunciation, goodwill, and harmlessness. Thoughts he entertained grew stronger. Thoughts he abandoned faded. This is karma in real time. What you rehearse, you become. What you release, releases you. Now let this land gently. You are not responsible for every thought that arises, but you are responsible for which ones you feed. This understanding removes guilt and replaces it with care. Care for the mind. Care for intention. Care for the present moment. Consider a simple daily practice. When a difficult emotion appears, do not ask, "Why am I like this?" Ask instead, "What is being trained right now?" If you follow the emotion blindly, you train reaction. If you pause with it, you train awareness. Both are karma, only one leads to freedom. The Buddha often used the image of seeds. Karma is a seed. The mind is the soil. Mind training does not erase old seeds instantly, but it changes what grows. Some seeds never sprout. Others sprout weakly and fade. New seeds, kindness, patience, clarity, begin to take root. This is not poetic metaphor, it is lived experience. Have you ever noticed how someone who practices mindfulness for years responds differently to stress? The stress still comes, but it does not own them. That is transformed karma. In AN 3.99, the Buddha explains that even painful past karma can be experienced lightly when the mind is developed, like a handful of salt in a river rather than in a cup of water. The pain exists, but it no longer overwhelms. This is what training does. It enlarges the container. Now here is an important reminder. Mind training is not about becoming numb. It is about becoming intimate with experience. Feeling fully without being consumed. Acting wisely without repression. This is why compassion naturally arises on this path. When you see how conditioned reactions create suffering in you, you stop wanting to harm others, not out of morality, out of understanding. In MN 61, the Buddha advises reflection before, during, and after action. Before acting, ask, "Will this lead to harm?" During action, stay aware. After action, observe the result. This is not judgment, it is learning. Learning is how karma transforms. You may wonder, isn't this exhausting? At first, perhaps, but over time, it becomes natural. Like learning to balance on a bicycle. At first, effort. Later, ease. Eventually, freedom of movement. The mind learns a new default. Stillness, clarity, gentleness, and something subtle but profound happens. Life no longer feels like something happening to you. It feels like something unfolding with you. You participate consciously. This is inner freedom, not control over the world, but understanding of the mind. The Buddha never separated liberation from daily life. Eating, speaking, working, resting, all are fields of karma. All are opportunities for training. You do not need to retreat from the world to transform karma. You need to meet the world with awareness. Each moment is enough. Each breath is enough. And now let us return gently to the beginning. If karma is intention, and intention lives in the mind, then every moment of awareness matters. Not to fix yourself, but to free yourself. Nothing needs to be forced. Nothing needs to be rushed. The Buddha's path is gradual, like the ocean deepening step by step. So tonight, or tomorrow, or the next time a familiar reaction arises, try something small. Pause, feel the body, notice the mind. Choose awareness over habit. That choice, however quiet, is powerful. It reshapes the unseen future. It softens the past, and it brings you home, not to an idea, but to the present moment. Rest here for a breath. Let the mind settle. This is where karma transforms. This is where the universe within begins to change. And in that gentle change, there is peace.